He said in 2 Corinthians 7, listen to this, I had fightings on the outside and I had fear on the inside. Have you ever had a day like that? Fightings on the outside. There's so much stuff going on out here on my job, in the family. This fightings on the outside, and even worse than that is fear on the inside. Doubting my own ability, doubting my own faith, doubting my own mind, doubting my own talent. Do I have what it takes? That's a bad day when the enemy's not just fighting you externally, but internally. Fighting on the outside, fear on the inside. But listen to what God did to get him through this rough season where he was about to quit. He said, nevertheless, God sent Titus to me and he encouraged me in the work of the Lord. Isn't that amazing that God would use a little nobody, nothing guy that nobody's ever heard of? But Paul said, I want to tell you about Titus. He encouraged me when I was about to give up, when I was about to quit, when I was about to throw in the towel. God gave me a power relationship of encouragement, and he encouraged me in the Lord. I'm telling you today that God has the right people. If you're discouraged, you just start looking. God will start sending people. If you don't know which direction to go, God can send somebody to knock the scales off, and it was there all the time. You just couldn't see it. And if you are in a situation and you can't get your foot in the door, you can't get in, it seems like you're blocked out and the doors are shut, God says, I've got for you those right people like Barnabas who can bridge you over and open doors that you cannot open for yourself. How many of you would like to have some kingdom connections, some power relationships in your life? I think about Ruth. Ruth was lonely. She was a widow. She was single. Does God care about the divorced? Does God care about the single person? Does God care about the widower? Does God care about people who are lonely? You better believe he cares. The same God who said, it's not good for man to be alone, saw Ruth in her loneliest hour, and God said, I'm going to give her a man, and I'm not scraping him off the bottom of the barrel. I'm going to get him off of the top. She found a guy by the name of Boaz, or actually he found her. She was out in the field, and Boaz was watching her. She had no idea he was watching her. Just look around you. Somebody's probably watching you. And God said, I know what you need. I know the right person. I know the right plan. I know the right place. I know how. I've got a dating matchmaking service like you wouldn't believe. And if you just trust me, if you just quit bringing the wrong people in, as long as you got the wrong people, the right people are shut out. So wait on the Lord and put him first. And Boaz is watching her, and suddenly he falls in love with her. And the Bible said that they ended up getting married. God had a plan for her life because he cares. If you're lonely, he cares. If you're single, he cares. If you're a widow, he cares. And he knows when things are right. And God knows how to bring the right person into your life. I wish I could shake the young people sometimes and say, you're forcing it, honey. You're forcing it. You're forcing it. Don't force it. Wait on the Lord. When it's right, it'll be right. When it's right, it'll be joy. When it's right, it'll be peace. When it's right, it'll be love. When it's right, they'll be full of the Holy Spirit. They'll love God just as much as you do. It won't be a struggle all the time. There'll be the witness of 2 or 3 witnesses. You got to wait on the Lord and wait on his call and wait on his purpose. The right people. Somebody shout, the right people. The right people. When I think of the right people, I think of Naaman and how that he had cancer. The cancer of that day, which would be leprosy. And what did God do? You know, sometimes we miss those power relationships because we're looking for them in big shots and big name people. But Naaman was a famous general, but he had a maid in the kitchen. And she was just a maid, just washing dishes back there, cleaning the floors. But she had in her life a living God and a healing answer. And sometimes if you're not careful, you'll miss the kingdom connections and the power relationships. And it's not always with the high and powerful people.